Welcome to the Wild Enthusiasm for Living podcast. I am your host, Dr. Melissa Mahon. Join me for conversations about possibilities and tools for having more joy, more play, and way more of you. What would it be like to wake up every day with a wild enthusiasm for living? Hello and welcome to the Wild Enthusiasm for Living podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Melissa Mahon, and I am so excited to be here with you today. Today, I wanted to talk to you about the goo phase, and you might know what that means and you might not. So let me explain it. So when a caterpillar becomes a butterfly, they go into a cocoon, things we learn as we're children, right? But during that time, the caterpillar essentially turns into goo. It's just DNA-filled goo before it reemerges as a butterfly. And I'm going through this a little bit myself, and I've talked to a lot of people in my world who have this up for them right now too, where we're in what I might call the goo phase, where you've kind of ended one thing and you have new things beginning, but they haven't quite begun fully yet. And well, one phase of your life has sort of ended. You're now in the phase of trying to figure out what comes next and how to navigate that in this time of what feels almost like a waiting period. So I wanted to look at that a little bit with you today. It's so funny. I keep pulling cards. I love to play with Oracle decks. And one of the decks I play with has a card called Between Worlds. And every time I take that deck out, that's the first card I pull. And that is very much where I am right now, is sort of between worlds. I am no longer facilitating access consciousness, and yet I still have my psychology practice, and I'm beginning to do EFT tapping, and I'm starting my yoga teacher certification in the fall. And I have all of these things that are about to begin, or I'm finishing certifications. I'm working on a book proposal. I'm in that phase of sort of building and working for what comes next. And sometimes it feels slow, or sometimes it feels as though it's not there fast enough. Like I just am eager to see what will materialize. And it's almost like when you know there's something out in front of you, but you can't quite get to it yet. And part of it is that it's just not time yet. We need the goo phase. Caterpillars need the goo phase to turn into butterflies. We need that time of recalibrating and downtime and learning new things and absorbing lots of information, reading lots of books, finding the space that we are moving into. And for some of us, this lasts a few months. For some people, it lasts a few years. And allow yourself to have whatever is true for you, where it doesn't have to be rushed. It doesn't have to be figured out right now. It's okay to be in that process of not sure what's coming next. So I really wanted to just give you some tools, things that I'm personally doing and using right now to navigate this time in a way that hopefully will create a little bit more ease for you. And also to tell you you're not alone. I'm in this too right now. And like I said, I know a lot of people in this right now. There's sort of this ending. 2025 is a 9-year, as I'm told by my numerologist friends, which is the end of a cycle for a lot of us. So we're sort of finishing things as we move into the next phase. And things are strange and weird and hard, and it's okay. It's okay to acknowledge that's where you're at and that you're becoming something greater now. And there has to be this moment in between in order for everything to rearrange itself to work. So, first of all, be gentle with yourself. It is okay to slow down. It's okay to not get angry at yourself or want things to move faster or try to push. I've certainly done that a lot in the past, where I've just tried to push and try to make things happen now and try to force things. And all that ever really ends in is frustration. When we try to push things into existence before it's time, it doesn't work and it feels heavy and hard. But if we can relax into the change, we can allow so much more ease to show up, not only in our bodies, but in our lives. We're actually allowing the things that we're asking for to unfold maybe even faster because we're not in the resistance of it. But when we relax and pull our walls and barriers down and are like, all right, I'm here for it, universe, show me the way, we actually are allowing things to move in the speed that they need to for our greatest good, whatever that might be. So allow yourself time to have a self care routine if you didn't already. Something I'm recently doing is going to a sauna. That's not something I ever prioritized before. But my wonderful naturopathic friend Francesca, who I had on a little bit ago, a few episodes back, said my body really needs to sweat. And that was something that was hard for me to just sit and do nothing. And now it's something I'm prioritizing by going and sitting in a sauna and just being. And sometimes I'll listen to something and sometimes I'll meditate, but it's just allowing myself that time and that space to let my body sweat and excrete and get, all of that stuff out that maybe I'd been holding on to. So that's one thing. For me, I'm also looking at creating routines in the morning that work for me. And that's something I've looked a lot at lately is I typically have had mornings where I get up and I get my workout in and I get my protein shake in and I get my shower and I get the kids to school and you get the energy of it, right? It's very rushed. And I've been looking at like, okay, what do I actually desire my days to look like in the beginning of the day? And for me, if I don't exercise in the morning, I won't. That's just a me thing. You know it's true for you. Lots of people like to exercise in the evening. But for me, I know that I need to do it first thing in the morning. So that is still how I start my day. And then I've been looking at what else. So I've been doing these Kundalini meditations with Kyle Gray. If you're familiar with him, if you're not, check him out. He's amazing. He's an angel master. So I've been doing these Kundalini like 20-minute meditations through his membership in the morning and adding that on to my workout. The other thing I'm finding is I really require to move and like walk. And I've used to run. My body doesn't love to run, but my body really likes to walk. So I've added on 20 minutes or 30 minutes of walking in the morning. And that's also added a lot. So at first I was like, so you want to add more things into your day and you think that's going to make you less stressed. And I understand that that is sort of the initial reaction. But what I found is if I actually have a time that I get up and I stick to the time that I get up and then I do my workout and then I do either my walk or my meditation, depending on what makes more sense, and then the other. And then I have space to come back and eat breakfast and take my vitamins and then get ready for my day. I feel so much more grounded in my day. But part of it is that I wasn't really leaving myself enough time to do everything I wanted to do. And I was often trying to cram everything in or I'd leave out one thing that I didn't have time for, that I sort of ran out of time for. And that's how I started my day, was on running out of time. Then I felt that frazzled, not grounded space as I go into my day. So for me, I really sat down with this and looked at this a couple days ago of like, okay, like what is it I really require? What time do I truly need to get up? What time does that mean I need to go to bed in order to get enough sleep? And since doing this, I have felt so much more space and peace in the morning where I no longer feel rushed and I'm getting everything in that I desire. And it's not as frantic as it was. It's changed something for me. It almost feels like slowing down, even though it seems as though I've added more things. But there are things that are priorities to me and have created more space in my world. I just started to value my self-care more than I think I ever have before. And I'd recommend you figure out what works for you. What are your priorities in the morning? Maybe it isn't to exercise. Maybe you do that in the evening. Maybe you prioritize meditation in the morning and or a walk or reading a book. Some people like to read different scripture or meditation or different things in the morning, and that's how they start their day. I know a lot of people who love to journal in the morning, and that's how they start their day. So look at, for you, what are some of the things that you would like to implement in your life that would be a really beautiful beginning to your day? And then start to look at how you'd like to end your day. So for me, I really enjoy reading in the evening, having a glass of tea, and just kind of coming down at night. Sometimes I'll do some journaling, and that again is what works for me. It might be different for you, but all of that is starting to prioritize self care. And I think that when we feel we're in this transition phase, this goo thing that I'm talking about, having some routine that really focuses on care of yourself can help you stay grounded and stay present in your life. I think it becomes really easy to lose that sense of grounding when you feel like you're not sure what comes next. When a lot of the things that were stable in your life are no longer there, we have to find some other way to have some grounding, some routine, some stability that just helps us feel centered. So play with that a little bit for you and see what you would like to try. And that's kind of the next thing on my list here of things to play with is it's all trial and error. You can do something for a day or three and be like, "Oh, I don't actually like the way I did that. I don't want to do this before this. I'd like to do that in a different order." Or, "Oh, wow, I really do need to go to bed earlier if I'm going to get up earlier. I'm finding that I'm tired." Whatever that is for you, but never from wrongness, just from play of like, okay, well, that didn't work the way I wanted it to. I wonder what I could implement now or try today that might have a different effect. And you kind of play with it until you find what works for you. And it doesn't have to be rigid. Obviously, you're going to have days that things get thrown off or, something unanticipated happens, and that's okay. But just to have a general sense of like, what does each day sort of look like for you and how do you stay present in your life and in your body? And the other thing is to really just kind of experiment with things in your life. Sometimes we find time we like didn't have before and we don't really know what to do with that time. So try different things. Take an art class or try different journaling things, or maybe you try an activity or an event that you've never done before. Maybe you take up rock climbing, or maybe you start scheduling something with a friend every Friday at noon, whatever that is for you. But start trying things that maybe you haven't tried before, or adding things to your life, even adding meaningful conversations to your life that maybe you didn't have time for before, that now you can add back into your life and allow for yourself to just play and see, like, is this fun for me? Does this work in my life? Yes, no, either way is fine. You might have things that you try and you're like, wow, I really thought that would be fun. And I actually find that really boring or irritating or whatever. But that's all like part of the learning and part of growth. So none of it's wrong. This is a conversation I have with clients all the time is they'll be like, well, I might like to try this one art class, but then I have to buy all these materials. And what if I don't like it? And at the end of the day, it's like, well, okay, what if you don't like it? So what? So you have all the materials, sell them, give them away, save them for a day you might pick it up again. What if that's all okay because you gain more clarity information for what is true for you? And that is part of the process. So, what if you allowed yourself that space to try things, to play with things, and to not ever feel like the time is wasted or the money is wasted just because you got to do something and then you can see if it works for you or not? I never look at money as wasted on any kind of anything, actually, class, personal development, anything, even if I didn't like it, because I gained clarity about what works for me and what doesn't work for me. And that to me is worth my time and money, even if it didn't turn out the way I thought it was going to. It all brings information and clarity for the future. And anytime you find that you don't like something or something no longer works for you, that's okay because it creates you having more awareness of what it is you would like to do, what you would like to create, what your future might hold that would be even greater. And I touched on this a little bit, but really take time for you to like be with your thoughts. And that might look like journaling. It might look like meditating. It might look like taking long walks without AirPods, without listening to something, but truly allowing yourself to think. Most of us don't want to do that. We're quite avoidant of it. I know lots of people who will not take a walk without having something to listen to. And what if you let yourself be bored? When we were kids, at least in my generation, I guess the kids today have their iPads and all the things. But, when I was a kid, we didn't have any of that. So if you were bored, you created something. You created a game, you created an art project, you created and you had ideas. So allowing yourself the space to let your mind like flow freely is often where we get our best ideas, where there's the next thing that you'd like to create or move towards that actually will come up for you. A lot of people say they have their best ideas in the shower. It's because you're not doing anything else. So if you allow yourself that space, whether it's just to sit and be quiet, I think a lot of times people try to meditate and they really try to like clear their head. And that's okay too. You can observe your thoughts, acknowledge that, they are just thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. All of those things from a meditation practice is clearing and wonderful. It is also okay to meditate by allowing things just to flow in, to flow out, to let thoughts come, because that often will be inspiration and give you ideas and bring you clarity about things. And if it's hard for you to sit still and do that, it is perfectly okay to walk. And as you walk, you observe the world around you. You have different thoughts come up, and different things will flow into your awareness when you're not trying to mask it by listening to things or focusing on a task that might be the answer to the next thing you're struggling with, and or might give you ideas and inspiration for where you're headed next, for what you're looking for. And my best ideas come from walks. I often will carry either a little notebook with me, or I'll just make a quick note on my phone when I'm walking, because I get so many ideas that come up. And then, if I didn't make a note of them when I was done walking, I might not have them still. If you ever had that experience where you're like, I will remember this. And then an hour passes and you're like, wait, I don't remember this. So I often make a point of writing it down in some way, shape, or form so that I have all of those ideas for later, and or journaling. I mean, all of those things will allow you to have new ideas come in into your awareness for your future and for your life. And they might not be what you expect. It might be somebody that pops in your head that you haven't thought about in a while. And you're like, oh, I wonder what that person's doing. And you reach out to them and they're like, oh my gosh, I was just thinking about you. This great opportunity just showed up. I wanted to tell you about it. Right. So, like, all of these different things can show up in your life when you allow the space for them to show up. And we're not always trying to distract. And lastly, don't rush this phase. We want so much to find comfort in certainty. And that is our understandable thing to do. And yet it doesn't really work. A lot of us will stay in a certain job and a certain relationship in things that are very predictable. And we like it that way because there's no anxiety associated with predictable, except that that's where we actually get stuck, where we get burnt out, or we stay places too long. And when we are not being true to our authentic self, and it is the willingness to sit in the uncomfortable goo phase where we actually get to have more of us. We actually get to have our authentic self. We actually allow ourselves the space to move into something greater and better for us by the willingness to sit in this discomfort. So, as much as you want to solve the problem, I don't know if you've done this. I know if I've been miserable in a job, I will spend day in and day out looking online for jobs. Or if I am like looking for a new certification or something like that, I will spend so much time trying to find it. And I remember when I was looking for a place to practice life coaching out of, this was before I was in private practice for psychology. And I was online trying to find the place. And out of nowhere, I met somebody at a metaphysical event who was like, oh, hey, I have a place you can rent space from. And that's the place I'm still sitting in right now talking to you. But it didn't matter how much I would have scoured the internet. I never would have found him. I met him in person. So when we allow ourselves the space to not push, to not try to find the answer online, to not grind away at how to fix the problem or get to the next thing right now, but instead relax. Know the time will pass anyways. Whether you do the thing, whether you don't do the thing, whether you get freaked out and angry about it, or whether you just relax. So if you can allow yourself to relax and know that everything is happening in the best timing for you, for your highest good, then allow yourself to have this time, this space until the next thing takes hold. And when it does, you'll be amazed because it might be instant. You might be like, oh my goodness, this is the thing. Now I'm here. I've arrived. And sometimes that happens with something like a new job, but not always. Sometimes it's a growing, it's a something you look back on years later and you're like, wow, like I remember that goo phase and I'm not quite sure when I became a butterfly, but somewhere in there, here we are. So allow it to show up however it shows up for you, for whatever your specific thing is in your life right now, whether it's being, between relationships or between jobs or just even between identities of letting go of something that you really saw yourself as before and allowing yourself to move into something different now and finding this new space of who you are and who you're growing into and who you're becoming and allowing all of that to be what it is, have gratitude for it and have gratitude for yourself for being willing to be in this space as uncomfortable as it is, and have gratitude for every time you resist the urge to fight it and to try to figure it out faster. Every time you allow yourself to relax into it, be like, wow, I'm so proud of myself today that as much as I wanted to sit and search online all day, instead, I just enjoyed the present moment, which is something so many of us never allow ourselves to have. And life happens in the present. It doesn't happen in the past and it doesn't happen in the future. So allow yourself to be more present every moment of every day and relax into everything that you are and everything that you are becoming. I believe that is all I have for you today. I hope this was helpful. Please let me know if there's other ways I can contribute to you, if there's questions you have or topics you'd like me to talk about. I am so grateful to have you here listening, and I will see you or talk to you sometime soon. Bye-bye.